Hey, I know that lady. Well, I just saw the article here. I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, so I pulled this one up early this morning. I thought it was interesting. I rarely do you see, and here's the article right here. Rarely do you see a major
Right?
trade publication cover something mostly fairly, honestly, from a fairly neutral perspective, which means they're trying to change the story around this because the lawsuit has some juice.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't THR one of the few of the Hollywood rags that has never exactly sucked Mickey's ding dong so much?
Well, yeah, but I think
Or
all
am I
three
thinking
of
a
the main ones.
deadline?
Well, all 3 of them. I mean, well, before Fink sold out, but these are all Penske media outlets. So this is just
Okay.
crafted from a quality author here,
Mm.
which we'll get to in a moment. Seth Abramovich.
For
Uh,
some reason, THR always stuck out to me as being a little bit more balanced when it came
it's
to Disney.
it probably is because of its editorial direction from the top of that particular thing, because they probably try to stick with a little bit more accurate things, more defensible positions. But anyway, the title here is interesting because it's not assaulting anybody. It says Gina Carano on getting sacked from Star Wars and her grudge match with Disney. So nothing inflammatory there. Uh, she talks about her firing, the toxic tweets that led to it, and why she's tag teaming with Elon Musk to take the mouse to the mat. I love it. So this breaks it down in a very fair way, talking about Gina Carano and her pioneering moves from mixed martial arts champion to acting in Haywire, which I thought was a neat film.
Yeah,
Um,
I liked it.
yeah, yeah, and then obviously she moved on to well, to Star Wars. She said, "I love disappearing into this strange world of spaceships, galaxies, and alien characters," says Carano, and they were at the Beverly Hills hotel. Um, she's always dressed relaxed. That's what I love about her. But anyway, so she says the directors. Why does it do this? Nate has the same problem. The directors, the actors, and the sound department, everybody got along. It was just amazing. That's fantastic. Um, she was in Project Huckleberry, which would premiere under its actual name, The Mandalorian, as the flagship for Disney's new streaming service, Disney Plus. Yada yada. So she kind of like walks through everything. They break down what her character is, Cara Dune, the mercenary from Princess Leia's obliterated home planet of Alderaan. But a little over a year later, Carano's travels to galaxies far, far away came to an end. The unraveling began, and this is probably the fairest description you're going to hear, folks. A heavy social media communicator with right libertarian leaning views, though she resists labeling her politics, bumped up against the corporate culture at Disney with an endless string of controversies involving tweets, Instagram posts on highly sensitive and divisive topics like the thingy that, pokey thing, and putting on things on your face. She was against both and remains stridently not in support of certain things. And her views on BLM and the rights movement for people doubting what they are. She says she would not bend to pressure to announce her uh, pronouns or tweet activist hashtags. And the results of a 2020 election and her retweeted thing that said, or the tweeted thing that she said, make not accurately counting things end in 2020. For a while, things had appeared to settle down. Carano even fielded a call from Favreau, said that her life is about to change, talking about the Mandalorian spinoff, Rangers of the New Republic. Citing a previous lawsuit, Favreau could not comment for the story. Well, I imagine nobody is. Still, she remained on thin ice at the company that placed an emphasis on liberal values and inclusivity at a time when tensions over identity politics were at an all time high. Carano felt unfairly targeted and bullied both by the public and her work peers, and her instinct was to continue to fight for herself, just as she'd always done in the ring. The final straw came with a meme. It wasn't a meme that she stumbled across and reposted to Instagram stories and to fleets. I never saw the fleets thing. So, and then you got a bunch of bots that came out with this hashtag Fire Gina Carano. If you doubt the bot story, check out one that just dropped over on Gothic Therapy that kind of correlates all this information. So, yeah, she was fired, that is, but the news of her termination was not relayed to her directly. No, she found out the same time as all of us. Nevertheless, her social media posts, and this is the biggest problem, according to the Lucasfilm spokesperson. Nevertheless, her media posts denigrated people based on their cultural and religious identities are abhorrent and unacceptable. And none of that was, of course, true. So Carano was canceled. So she talks about that. And she talks about, I curled into the fetal position. It's not that I didn't think that something like this could happen. It was that I couldn't imagine they would put out this horrendous statement about me after working with me. The most powerful entertainment in the company in the world is saying that about me. So she sold her place in Hermosa Beach and bought an RV. Spent 3 weeks driving across the country and did an interview, obviously, with Daily Wire, which we've all talked about. She got hired to star in a film called Terror on the Prairie, and much mockery was made online of the film that only grossed $804, a number that was seemingly taken from a box office website, which Carano says had mistakenly cited a single theatrical screening where no admission was charged. So they published lies about her. Um, anyway, this goes on and kind of breaks it all down. And then she says this. She says, "You become unhireable, and then it becomes okay for other people to disrespect you. And then you're just carrying around this disrespect and you're shouldering all this shame, and it affects your physicality, your mentality. You're just kind of hopeless. So to be able to fight back, it makes me feel like, okay, that feels good." And of course, she's referring to her and Musk teaming up to go after Disney. So this goes on, and it's a fairly decent piece, to be fair. And I really hope that it's successful. Now, we're going to leave it there. I want to ask you, gentlemen. First of all, is this the most honest interpretation we've seen from any mainstream about what's going on here? Don't
It
I'll
has
jump.
it has for me. I mean, most of the time you get these uh woke shill sites that completely go with whatever narrative Disney put out there or any other studio for that matter, and just basically go along with their talking points and what the mob is yakking about. Like, oh, she's saying all this anti-Semitic stuff, and she's gonna get people killed with her coof comments and all that, and going on, and the fact that somebody just kind of called it how it is also kind of refreshing. It's sort of like the whole Madam Web crap that Sydney was, basically just calling out for what it is. The movie sucks, and now here we got a actual trade that's coming out and talking about actual truth, not just
Saying something reasonable and
yeah.
mostly accurate, even though there is some inflammatory language utilized in here, which kind of tips the hat of the politics of
Oh
the
yeah,
person writing
yeah.
this. But I still haven't seen anything this balanced from a mainstream pub. Tom?
Yeah, I agree. Outside of the clear bias on the writer's behalf, I mean, it's good to see more of the mainstream publications taking on her story and uh, at least trying to get it out there a little bit more. And they weren't really talkative about it outside of trashing her at the time. And you got to imagine they might get worried about this too, because once she's done with Disney, who's to say she's not going to go after some of these publications and stuff that did a lot of the reporting, because they're the reason that she was unable to be hireable, right? Like, so they ran with all this crap on behalf of Disney, and did their little dirty work for them. Because that's the funny thing is, up until things got a little bit more out there, the only time anybody in the normie public had heard about her was like, you would say something about Gina Carano and be like, who? And they'd be like, oh, so and so from Mandalorian and stuff like that,
Yeah,
and
Cara
Deadpool and
did.
whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they'd be like, "Oh, well, I heard she said this or she did that, and she was horrible and racist and blah 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 blah." They're just going by what they heard on the news,
Or
right?
or what they caught
Right, and
secondhand. Yeah.
whatever, yeah, or
Yeah.
caught secondhand or read on Twitter or whatever. And that's my point, is that you know she got literally canceled by the entire media. I mean, it's so they owe her this, and yeah, I hope they better hope for their sake, and I hope that she does kind of take it a little bit more to the extreme because that's the kind of things that need to happen here. As I've been saying for a while, that the only times these things are going to change are when those people that are being put on pedestals stand up and say, "Wait a minute, I'm not going to let you use me as a circus freak anymore." And the other side of it is when people start suing and winning, because a lot of this stuff is unconstitutional or flat out illegal, and all kinds of other things that we could, say, because
Well,
there's so many, times now where we've seen this. I mean, even Carol Lynn is somebody who we know has a very good case for this kind of a cancellation or whatever you want to call
I think you're right, Tom, and I suspect that a lot of these companies are going to have some real problems in the future because of some decision making processes that were there, and we're watching universities and some other stuff that are suffering underneath some of these delusional framings of things, thinking they could get away with violating civil rights, let alone everything else, employment law, et cetera, et cetera. But I have to tell you, I really love that she's sticking to her guns even now, despite carrying all this weight for as long as she has. I don't know. I mean, I suspect I was going to ask you guys. Maybe you have a thought on it, but what do you think what do you think will happen with her case? Will we make it to discovery? Will it get
Well, I think
summarily
that's
dismissed?
Gina's whole point. Unless she gets every, unless they, because I think the only way she settles is if they give her every last thing she asked for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of those things that she asked for is almost an impossible ask without removing certain elements from the company,
Yep.
Right.
and that, of course, being putting her back in the show or the movies and stuff. And we
Yeah.
all know that's most likely not going to happen.
No.
But yeah,
No.
thank God Carolyn did, and then she found us as a community too. But
Yeah.
point being is like, yeah, I think at this point, yeah, I think it's inevitable unless they actually bow down and give her every last thing she wants because they're that scared crapless of discovery. And I gotta go let Sadie in because she's
Okay.
barking endlessly at
Oh,
something.
no problem. But no, I don't know. What do you think, Nick? Do you think we'll get to discovery in Gina's case?
100% will get to discovery. And
Yeah.
I agree with Tom a bazillion percent. That's what she is waiting on. She is waiting for this thing to get to the discovery process so that everything can come out, the whole truth can come out, and she knows who it's going to affect. And I guarantee you, they're going to try to stop it, nothing to freaking try to keep this from even getting that far. But like Tom said, with everything she's asking for, I just don't see there being any way they stop it. Uh,
I look.
unless they give her everything and settle and say, all right, we'll do whatever. It depends on how bad everything is that could come out in Discovery actually is. Because if it's not that bad, they'll be like, screw it, just let it all come out.
Well,
We're not letting
That's
her
an
come
awful
back.
lot of that's an awful lot of a tidal wave of bad there, my friend, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
it's something us here in the YouTube, group of beings will definitely benefit from, is being able to go through all of that discovery.
Oh, I can't wait till it all
And
comes out.
yeah, and look, right now, and this is something that you either agree with, don't agree with, it doesn't matter. This is what's happening, and it's happening in other places right now in politics, but and you can, you know, figure out what I'm talking about when I say this, but right now, this is a form of lawfare.
Mm,
And in lawfare, the idea, the way to win is to force settlement because everything that would come out otherwise is embarrassing.
yeah.
The other way to win in lawfare is to just avalanche somebody in a way that they give up and they take a plea if you're trying to do legal things that are criminal. The other thing you can lawfare into is what's happening in an election level that's happening right now in this country. But this kind of lawfare, what they're seeking is discovery. The punishment is the process for Disney here, right? That's lawfare. The punishment is the process. There's so much here. There's so much that's hidden in the back. There's so much they can't bury. There's so much that they would be compelled to deliver that it would be so embarrassing. It would be so damaging that they give up. I just don't know that they can. There's one thing they can't give up at here, and it's they can't give up the show. They can't give her job back.
Mm-mm.
They just can't. There will be no way to. They might be able to give
Favreau
her
would love for her to come back and then
well,
get that
Rangers
Rangers of the New
Rangers,
Republic back out,
yeah.
back in the mix. But at this point, like they've probably already reworked it. I mean, would the show even still work? I mean, I'm sure they could rework it back in. But
Would be really simple to
yeah,
just have her, get to another planet where she rallies the troops and
I
develops a new kind of police force, I guess.
I got a
Yeah.
question for you, Culture.
Yeah.
If Gina comes back and is in Rangers of the New Republic, she gets her show. Are you tuning in and watching?
Because it's Gina?
Yeah.
Man, I don't wanna give Disney money for that. I
And
would
and
I
what if
would
it's
watch it.
complete garbage like all the other Star Wars and she's
Then I would
involved
call
in
it
it?
out. Then I would call it out. You know me.
Yeah.
You know me. I mean, I can be critical of my friends when they make things, you know?
See,
It
and that's the side of it where I'm like, I hope she doesn't come back because
yeah,
Star Wars is trash right now. Like, I wouldn't want her to be a part of that. Um,
yeah.
I just I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to be like, oh my God, Gina's back, but good God, this show is trash. Why did she even come back and do this? Uh, I'd rather just remember her from the 2 good seasons or decent seasons anyway of Mando that we got, and let that be her legacy in there. And if they do offer it back, do you think she actually comes back? Because a part of me thinks that she just wants them to offer it back just so she can say, "Nah, thanks for the offer, but no, I'm good. I'm not coming back."
I don't know how you come back from that,
Yeah,
honestly. I
same.
just don't. Look, and I think that she has obviously, character, attributes that few people do nowadays, at least in
Yeah.
that industry that she's in. I mean, obviously, we have a lot of people with character attributes here, that are in our audience right now. Thank you for being here, everybody. We got a super chat here from our friend Hemorrhoid Hertz, who says a double header: Electric Jesus versus wow, Cocksuckerberg and Gina versus KK and the struggle session tag teaming at the Coliseum. Well, there you go. I
Mm.
read that. Thank you for the Australian 7.99. Nate's going to kill me. This is why we get heavily demonetized, and these super chats are the way to go to keep the show alive. But no, I think Elon versus Zuckerberg and Gina versus KK. I think you put Gina in the ring against Zuckerberg. You've got
Oh yeah.
a knockdown drag out. What was the famous wrestling term? A slobber knocker? Is that right, Nick?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something that would be even better is Gina in the ring with Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I would pay
I
so much
I
money to
I
see that.
I still think that'd be elder abuse, dude.
It definitely would. It
Yeah.
definitely
You
would.
gotta be careful with that. Yeah. I look, some of these celebrity matches, like, especially at, like, mixed martial arts, I would be very excited about. But I love the idea, Hemorrhoid Hurts. I don't think that'll ever happen. It would be great. It'd be great. But, yeah, call me Snakes like Gina versus KK. We got so much going on, and thank you, Kyla, for the, encouragement there in the chat. I appreciate that. Gina versus Pablo Hidalgo, sign me up, Vertical Horizons. I would watch that. I'd pay for that. I'd pay the $99 for that. I have people over. I would actually serve adult beverages. It'd be a good time. Be a good time indeed. Tom, did you get Sadie in? You good? You still muted?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Well, you have any final thoughts on the Gina Carano stuff that's going on now, or no?
No, I think we covered it pretty well for now. I mean, there wasn't anything really new in this article. It's just the story here is that it's a mainstream, outlet covering it more so than anything. Yeah.